Welcome, everyone, to episode 11 of our World Cup 2026 daily podcast, D-Day for Belgium and Spain. I'm Arthur.
And I'm Nora. What a day of football we just witnessed. The Netherlands absolutely flexed their offensive muscle in that emphatic 5-1 victory over Sweden.
They certainly did. But before we get to the pitch, I have to say, it is simply incredible how far our little show is traveling.
It really is. I was looking at the podcast metrics, and after just 10 episodes, we have reached listeners in 14 different countries. A massive shout out to everyone tuning in from Belgium, the UK, Norway, Ireland, Colombia, France, Canada, Australia, Cambodia, Singapore, Brazil, Portugal, Nicaragua, and of course, in the USA.
It truly is a global family sharing the beautiful game. Now, looking at yesterday's results, there was so much narrative to unpack. Paraguay eliminating Turkey was pure theater, especially hanging on with 10 men. But that red card for Miguel Almiron for covering his mouth. I've never seen anything quite like it. The drama just writes itself. And then you have Curaçao. Eloy Room making 15 saves to hold Ecuador to a 0-0 draw. What a heroic, historic first point for them.
Room's performance was statistically absurd, Dad. His post-shot expected goals saved must have broken the analytical models. But going back to the Netherlands, yes, they scored 5, but Sweden's defensive shape was virtually non-existent. The Dutch XG was incredibly high because Sweden gave them acres of space in the half spaces. If you look at the heat maps, Sweden's midfield pivot completely collapsed. It was a similar story for Tunisia, getting entirely dismantled 4-0 by Japan.
The numbers might show a collapse, but I just saw a Swedish team that lost its belief. You could literally see their shoulders drop after the second goal. But let's talk about Germany. They left it so late against Côte d'Ivoire. Denis Undav winning it at the death to make it 2-1, that is classic German resilience. The tension in that stadium was palpable.
Let's actually shift to our team deep dive today and look closer at Côte d'Ivoire. Despite that late loss, their underlying metrics tell a really critical story. They deployed a high-pressing 4-3-3, but their tactical shape was disjointed. When you look at their expected goals on target, it was terribly low. They were taking low-probability shots from outside the box. Defensively, their big chances missed were compounded by structural flaws. Their tackles per 90 were high, but their interceptions per 90 were abysmal, which tells me they were constantly reacting rather than anticipating.
You know, watching them play, I didn't need a spreadsheet to see the panic in their defensive third. But you still have to admire their spirit. They played with a raw, physical edge that reminds me of some of those great, unpolished sides from the 90s. The problem is exactly what you just pointed out, Nora. They lacked composure. Football is an art, and you need a steady hand to paint the final strokes. They were frantic when they needed to be clinical.
Exactly. You can't survive a 48-team tournament on vibes alone. The efficiency has to be there.
Speaking of efficiency blending with art, watching this mix of tactical rigidity and raw power brings to mind a legend we haven't discussed yet, Lothar Matthäus. When you talk about the heartbeat of a side, Matthäus was the ultimate force of nature. I remember the 1990 World Cup vividly. He had this incredible aura on the pitch. He could tackle you into the turf, then pick himself up and drive 30 yards to score an absolute screamer. His goal against Yugoslavia surging from his own half. It was pure, unstoppable will.
And analytically, Matthäus is the exact prototype for the modern elite box-to-box midfielder. If we had his XG plus XA per 90 from that tournament, I guarantee it would be off the charts. He essentially did the work of two players, blending high interceptions per 90 with elite progressive carries. That is exactly the profile teams are desperately trying to engineer in 2026.
Some things just can't be engineered, sweetheart. They have to be born.
Fair enough. Stepping away from the pitch for a second, the social media timeline is completely buzzing today. First, there's some tough news. Jeremy Doku is out for the Belgium match against Iran due to illness. But on a lighter note, have you seen the bloke core trend taking over? Fans are styling vintage football shirts, especially bright pink ones, with modern streetwear. It is going totally viral.
I think I will stick to my traditional woolen scarf, thank you very much. But speaking of the fans, the atmosphere in these stadiums has been nothing short of magnificent. Did you catch the whole crowd singing Country Roads yesterday? It has really struck a chord at this World Cup. There is something deeply moving about tens of thousands of people from all corners of the earth united in a single song.
It is a brilliant acoustic environment, I'll give you that. Even with the enclosed roofs in some of these stadiums, the decibel levels are breaking records. It perfectly bridges the gap between the on-field analytics and the raw emotion you always look for.
Well, we are going to need all that emotion for today's matches. We have some fantastic fixtures lined up. Spain is taking on Saudi Arabia, and Belgium is looking to secure their footing against Iran.
Both are massive, high-stakes matches. Spain really needs a statement win. They looked completely stung by their shock start, and a repeat just isn't an option mathematically. For Belgium, missing Doku's pace means they have to find a completely new way to break down an Iranian side that will undoubtedly sit in a low block and try to minimize Belgium's expected goals.
I completely agree. Spain has the pedigree, but pressure does strange things to giants on this stage, and Belgium will need their veterans to step up and dictate the tempo. Let's make a plan. I will put the kettle on for Spain versus Saudi Arabia, and we can watch Belgium against Iran together right after.
Deal. I will have my tablet ready to track the live passing networks for both games.
From the tactical nuances to the roar of the crowd, this tournament continues to amaze. Thank you all for spending part of your day with us on episode 11.
Keep an eye on those expected goals, and we'll be back tomorrow with more deep dives. Goodbye, everyone.